Okay, we're live. Great. Hi, everyone. This is Evgenia, and as you know, on this channel, we're talking about human brain, its health, longevity, and emotional wellness. And today we have special guests, Cara and Jean-Pierre from France. They're going to share with us their experience of working with a specific type of patients and a specific type of device. Let's move forward and start with a brief introduction. Please, Cara and Jean-Pierre, tell a little bit about who you are and what you're doing.
So my name is Cara Tavilacci. I'm an occupational therapist now for 19 years, almost 20 years. I'm also a certified Tomatis consultant, and the Tomatis company is the creator of this product that we'll be talking about, Forbrain. I come from New York, but I'm currently living in France at the moment, and I work with a variety of different children. That's the population that I focus on. I'm trained in sensory integration, various auditory programs, handwriting programs, self-regulation things. My main goal is pediatrics. That's where I focus my work.
Jean-Pierre?
So, hello. My name is Jean-Pierre, and I'm a psychologist. I've been working in the Tomatis method for 42 years now. I've been trained by Alfred Tomatis. And I kind of work with adults having problems of anxiety, communication disorders, and also depression, along with kids having problems of different learning disabilities, let's say. It's my two categories of population. And I apply a system, it's called the Tomatis method, whose Forbrain actually is one of the devices. It's one of the numerous, the Tomatis method has a lot of devices, among which Forbrain, the Forbrain device that I kind of use on a daily basis.
So, can a little bit tell us with whom you usually working? As I understood, Cara works mostly with kids, and Jean-Pierre works with adults and kids, right?
Yes.
So I'll just talk about just specific diagnosis that I work with. So I work with kids that can be on the autism spectrum, children with language delays, sensory integration, dyspraxia, problems with motricity, from fine motor, gross motor to visual motor. I work with children that have Down syndrome, various kids with genetic disorders. So there's a wide spectrum of children that I see. And JP works with adults who have...
Yes, adults with basically anxiety problems, and adults also suffering from depression. It's like the main two population with adults, actually. We're kind of French spoken most of the time, but I can from time to time come across English spoken people. Yeah, in France, it's more rare to talk English than French, statistically speaking.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Perfect. So, you're using this device, Tomatis device or Forbrain device. Can you tell us a little bit how you actually qualify your patients for usage of this device, and why this particular device is able to help them, and how you actually implement this device in your practice?
Sorry for the back and forth. So I'll speak to the clients that I work with. So I work with it directly in my occupational therapy sessions. So I'll have children, if they are on the autism spectrum, that do have language delays, and I want them to either maybe decrease some of the vocal sounds that they are making that are distracting for other students. I'll have them use the device so that they become more tuned in to their voice and what their the sounds that they're making. I also work with speech therapists who work with children who have articulation problems, so difficulty correctly pronouncing speech. So they'll use it within their sessions as well. I use it with my clients when they're working on motor skills. They're able to then put the device on directly. They tell me exactly what they did, and that really helps focus their attention and really helps them remember the steps of the activity that they did, or how they did something. First I climbed onto a swing, then I, crashed into the cushion. So mine is very, I guess, hands-on in the sessions immediately. And I use it intermittently. We'll have, 5 minutes where we're using it, 10 minutes we take a break, 5 minutes we'll introduce it again. So it's just a great flexible tool for me to use when I'm working with these clients.
So, Gara, one more second. So, as understood, your therapy was like you playing actually with kids and using this device to basically let them remember and put in their heads exactly what they're doing, what they're saying, right? So it will be more sound and more efficient.
Yes. So basically all kids learn through play. So they're moving, they're climbing, they're active. And the great thing about this tool, I don't know if you can see it, is that it's just so easy to use in your sessions. So the kids still can be moving and climbing and playing and be active, and they're not attached to a wire or anything. And they're getting this immediate feedback as they're climbing up onto something. They can say, oh, I'm climbing up, or, oh, I'm crashing down. So that immediate feedback that really targets that attention and focus and that ability to remember what they just did and to really tune in to what they're doing. Sometimes you'll get children that are a little bit lost in thought, and that just kind of really helps hone and capture their attention to task and to activities and things like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, that's awesome. So, Jean-Pierre, please, you mentioned that you're working with adults, right? Can you please tell us how it actually, like, what kind of patients are those people? How you qualify them? When do you think the device, the Forbrain device, can be useful?
For me, it's a bit different because, as I said before, I use the Forbrain in the context of musical therapy sessions. So I kind of like systematically use the Forbrain in conjunction with another type of approach, which is called the Tomatis method. And basically, the idea is that after a therapy session, a musical therapeutical session, also called listening program, people, they have to maintain to kind of consolidate the effect brought about by the listening program. And one of most fabulous way to maintain is to work on what is called the audio vocal loop. Okay, so that's the idea. The idea to maintain yourself is to consolidate the effect using your own voice as a source of stimulation, since in the Forbrain we benefit from an auditory feedback. That's the principle. And which is, by the way, also the ultimate goal of all these listening programs, to make people autonomous and to help them to use on a daily basis their own voice in order to get energy, to improve their ability to communicate, to be more self-confident, in order also to regulate emotion, because there's a close connection between this circuit linking the ear with the voice and emotional regulation. So for me, it's like this. It's more in the context of another approach, and this tool for me is advised systematically to my client in order to maintain, not only to maintain actually, but to grow, to improve themselves once the musical therapy is over.
Oh, great. Can you please tell a little bit more about the device? You already started. How does it work? And how you can, like, do we have to use professional help to use this particular device? And how would, for, like, if, for example, I would like to improve my communication and language skills and focus and attention, do I have to go to the specialist to use this particular device?
Well, regarding the first part of your question, so the device is set like this. It's kind of like headset that you put on your skull. It's like bone conduction system. It's based on what is called bone conduction transmission of sound. The bone is a fabulous is a medium that is very efficient for transmitting sound. It's like goes 10 times faster than in air. There's no loss of energy. It transmits perfectly well all the frequencies, all the harmonics from very low to very high. So it's based on the fact that we are going to tap into the auditory feedback. So there's a mic, and when the mic is on, I kind of pick up my voice through bone conduction. As you can see, my ears are not plugged. It's quite interesting, by the way, because in the same time, I can pick up my voice while listening to other people. So it promotes interaction, dramatically promotes interaction. But the thing is, here at that level, in this small box, you have a process that is precisely the same process that we use in the Tomatis method. It's called a gating system. It's based on a kind of like a modulation of amplitude and frequency. So basically it means that every time I'm going to talk, I'm going to emit some sounds, be it through talking, reading aloud, singing, repeating words and sentences. My voice is going to be enriched through the process, enriched in high harmonics. So there's a modification of the quality of the voice called the timbre. There's a modification of the timbre in such a way that what is going to modify and improved and enriched are the high harmonics, because these high harmonics are very, very important regarding the quality of the voice, and also to give energy to the brain, to give what is called cortical arousal, because behind that, there's a theory that says that the main function of the ear is not even audition. Before that, it's giving a lot of arousal to the brain. It's like dynamo for the brain. So this is the idea. We kind of promote this mechanism of arousal. We modify and improve the voice. And when you do this through the technique itself, we kind of like promote the desire to communicate, and we really improve self-confidence. Basically, it amounts to allowing people to get in touch with themselves through their own voice, which a lot of people cannot do at the beginning.
Amazing. That's absolutely amazing. It can, I believe it sounds absolutely amazing, and I believe it can help with a range of issues, mental health condition, or brain related conditions like dementia and other things. Can you please give us examples from your own personal practice with like positive outcomes? Tell a little bit, like some examples when actually this device really help your patient to improve their condition.
I could give you just an example of a little girl that my colleague was actually working with, who was mistaking her S's. She was substituting S's whenever there was an S in a word, she would replace it with something else. And she used the device for about a week or so. And she really was able to actively listen and hear and tune into what she was saying. And she made that correction with the help of the therapist to first identify it. But by practicing it at home and using it, 10 minutes a day, within a week, she was able to correctly pronounce and speak the words correctly. For me, my kiddos, I have kiddos that have sensory integration and tend to be a little bit more kind of low muscle tone and a little bit low arousal and just kind of those floppier, you got to get them moving and active. And by putting the headset on, I see immediately an increase in posture. They start to, ooh, that's my voice. That's me. They start to sit up taller. And I use that through that tool with movement and swinging and things like that. So you're getting that stimulation through the auditory system, through the movement, as well as through the bone conduction aspect of the Forbrain device. For myself personally, I use it for my French language learning. So reading out loud, my reading has become more fluent. I'm still not perfect, but it's easier for me to read longer text in French than before. I was more choppy and jumping around the words, so just more fluidity in my reading skills. I don't know, your clients, any of your adults?
For me, it's like I think basically everyone can benefit from all my clients, all my patients can benefit from that because I said before, you're working on the activation of this audio vocal loop, and we are wired for that as human beings. It's a product of evolution. We are kind of wired to make this loop work well. It improves what is called a social engagement. We are wired for that. So for me, for example, it's kids with attentional problems, because this loop is absolutely critical in terms of working memory. Working memory is key. Working memory, that's the cognitive workshop of the brain. I mean, there's no working memory, there's no learning. It's just not possible. Actually, it belongs to attentional mechanisms. Working memory, it's impossible to dissociate. Or, as I said, people endowed with a lot of anxiety, what are you doing with them? You really, really achieve emotional regulation. So what's the connection? The connection is this, quite interesting actually. When you kind of use the device, you kind of promote the activation of a part of the frontal cortex, of the motor cortex. There's a kind of specific area that has been, by the way, discovered not so long ago, rediscovered, let's say. It's called the dorsal laryngeal cortex. It is involved in the activation of a vocal cords, the activation of the larynx. But what is interesting in that is that at the same time, this structure is strongly involved in the regulation of breathing, and to be more precise, the phase of exhalation, when you exhale. And when you exhale, consequently, what you're going to do every time we exhale, what we do is that we promote the activation of the parasympathetic system. And this is very important because this is a key thing. If you activate the parasympathetic system, the opposite of a stress system, let's say, an anxiety system, you really, really calm down people. You really achieve self-regulation. And one of the consequences is that now, once they start to be more regulated, they get a desire to communicate that is increasing incredibly. So now they have this desire to communicate. They can socially engage with others. So this is important. Another type or another application, of course, relates to academic disorders. I'm thinking of all these kids that have difficulties reading, okay, encoding, or like making an association between letters and sounds. Of course, here the application is obvious, and we get very, very, very interesting results at that level. So actually, anyone can benefit from this. Singers, people endowed with depression, because once again, you play with the energizing power of the ear with all the consequences. Everyone could benefit from it. Actually, the fact of reading aloud, singing, is extremely powerful, much more than a lot of people think. It's a kind of like mundane for a lot of people action to talk, to sing, to read aloud, to repeat words and sentences. It is extremely important. It's very powerful, and it's a source of plasticity for the brain to do that.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you for giving us, detailed description, because it's very important. Thank you so much for like explaining to us why this particular device can be helpful. So, as I understood, you are guys getting results from the usage of this device almost immediately. You can see, as Kara said, almost immediately kids start to, feel better, improve their posture, improve their communication skills, and improve their focus almost immediately. So you actually can tell that it's very beneficial, right? And you can see results almost immediately. Amazing.
Yeah, you can see the child's response as soon as you put it on.
And the thing is, do we need to talk to specialists to use this device? Do we need to have a professional help? Can a person use this particular device just sitting home, to improve language, to improve focus, to improve self-awareness and confidence? How easy this device is in terms of usage and in terms of settings?
It's super easy. I think anybody could use it at home directly. It's literally, you put it on, turn it on, and start working, start talking, start reading out loud. And
so no settings, nothing. You don't use it.
There's a volume. If you feel that it's too loud or too soft, you can adjust the volume, but it's automatically set for you. So you really don't have to adjust anything. If you're working with a client that maybe has a little bit more sound sensitivities, you might adjust the volume, but it's really like super simple to use. You're not attached to anything, so you're free moving around.
So that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Okay, Kara and Jean-Pierre, thank you so much for the introduction to Forbrain device. You give us lots of valuable information. I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.